What if one question, just one, could reveal the truth about someone who's been manipulating you for years? Narcissists are masters of control. They twist words, rewrite history, and keep you second-guessing yourself. They don't just avoid the truth, they fear it. Why? Because truth unmasks them. It threatens the carefully crafted image they've built, and while they may appear confident or even spiritual on the outside, deep down, truth is their greatest weakness. Many people trapped in toxic relationships walk on eggshells, unsure how to confront the lies. They want clarity but fear the fallout. They pray for peace but feel stuck in confusion. What they don't realize is that a single well-placed question, spoken with calm, honest conviction, can crack the mask. It's not about shaming, controlling, or fighting. It's about truth. And truth, according to Scripture, always brings light. Luke 8:17 says, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open." This is a promise. The darkness doesn't stay hidden forever. When we ask the right question, we partner with God's light, and light always exposes what's been in the shadows. So what is that question? What is the one thing a narcissist cannot answer without revealing who they really are? In the next section, we'll uncover that simple question and show why it holds such incredible power when spoken in faith. 1. What this question reveals: the heart of the narcissist. The question is simple, but its impact is profound. Can you take responsibility for how your actions have affected me? It sounds gentle, respectful even, but for a narcissist, it's like setting off an alarm, because this one question demands something they cannot easily give: humility. It asks for reflection, accountability, and empathy. And when a narcissist is confronted with the need to acknowledge pain they've caused, something in them resists. They squirm, deflect, deny, or get angry, because to answer truthfully would mean admitting they are not perfect, and that's something their pride cannot bear. This question does not accuse, it invites. It gives them an opportunity to step into truth, but most narcissists won't take that step. Instead, they will shift the blame. They might say, "You're too sensitive," or "That's not what happened," or even try to reverse the roles entirely. "You're the one who hurt me." These reactions tell you everything you need to know, not just about what they did, but about who they are. Proverbs 12:15 says, "The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice." The narcissist, in their pride, believes they are always justified. They believe their intentions excuse their behavior. And when you ask this one question, it threatens the false image they've built. It invites reality in. And reality is the one thing they cannot control. C.S. Lewis, in Mere Christianity, wrote, "It was through pride that the devil became the devil. Pride leads to every other vice." That's why narcissists recoil when you bring up how they've affected you. Pride is at the center of their world. To take responsibility would require them to surrender a piece of that pride, and they've built their identity on avoiding exactly that. But here's the power in asking this question. It brings clarity to you, even if it doesn't bring change to them. If they respond with compassion, humility, or even hesitation to reflect, you may be dealing with someone open to growth. But if they instantly become angry, cold, dismissive, or accusatory, you've just seen behind the mask. You're not asking for perfection. You're asking for honesty. And when honesty isn't possible, you're no longer confused. That alone is freeing. In the next section, we'll look at how Jesus used similar questions, not to provoke but to expose, and how we too can follow his example with both courage and wisdom. 2. Biblical response. When the truth comes out. When you ask a narcissist, "Can you take responsibility for how your actions have affected me?" you are not just asking a question, you are issuing a spiritual challenge. And when the truth begins to surface, you must be prepared, because rarely does a narcissist respond with peace and clarity. More often, the reaction will be chaotic, emotional, or manipulative. They may lash out, they may retreat and punish you with silence, or they may twist the situation entirely, making you feel as though you were the one out of line. This is why emotional and spiritual preparation is essential. When Jesus confronted people with truth, he never did so to embarrass or shame them. He did it to expose what was hidden and to give them a chance to turn toward the light, but not everyone welcomed the light. In Matthew 21:25, when Jesus asked the religious leaders about the authority of John the Baptist, they couldn't answer. Not because they didn't know, but because any answer would expose them. So they said, "We do not know." It was a cowardly dodge, and Jesus saw right through it. You may experience the same. The person you confront may dance around your question, avoid answering, or accuse you of trying to start drama. But remember this, you are not seeking control, you are seeking clarity. Your question was an invitation, not a trap. If they can't answer it with even a shred of reflection that tells you exactly what you need to know, this is where discernment becomes your shield. Don't chase them for answers, don't beg for understanding. Don't explain yourself over and over. Jesus asked questions, then let the silence do the work. You must do the same. C.S. Lewis once said that evil often hides in the plain and mundane. It is not always monstrous, but disturbingly normal. That's why exposing a narcissist isn't about dramatic confrontations. It's about calmly shining light in a room where they've grown used to shadows. Their reaction may tempt you to doubt yourself. They may turn others against you, twist the story, or act like the victim. But remember, truth does not need to defend itself. Jesus stood silently before his accusers, letting their own words betray their hearts. You can too. Your job is not to fix them. Your job is to stand in the truth and protect your peace. And when the mask slips, when the manipulation no longer works, and when their true heart is exposed, let God take it from there. In the next section, we'll look at the spiritual freedom that comes when you stop waiting for accountability and start walking in clarity. Because even if the narcissist doesn't change, you will. 3. Why this question frees you spiritually. Even if the narcissist refuses to answer your question or turns it against you, the moment you ask it, something powerful shifts. You begin to see the situation through the lens of truth rather than confusion. And that shift is where freedom begins. Because when you no longer hope for answers from someone committed to distortion, you stop spinning in emotional circles. You stop trying to earn love that was never freely given. You stop explaining yourself to someone who was never really listening. This is spiritual clarity. And it's a gift. John 8:32 says, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." It doesn't say the other person has to agree with the truth. It doesn't say the truth will always be received well. It simply says that when you know it, you are free. The moment you ask that one powerful question, and the narcissist shows you who they are, you are no longer bound by illusion. You're not being cruel. You're not being dramatic. You're choosing clarity over chaos. C.S. Lewis often wrote about the danger of living in self-deception. In The Great Divorce, he described souls so attached to their pride that they refused heaven rather than give it up. In toxic relationships, we sometimes hold on to hope so tightly that we become blind to reality. But hope that refuses to see truth is no longer hope. It's a trap. That's why this question matters. It gives you permission to step into the light and stop negotiating with darkness. You may not receive closure from the narcissist, but God gives something better: peace. Not because everything's resolved, but because you're no longer stuck pretending it might be. This is when healing begins. You stop carrying guilt for their behavior. You stop wondering if you're overreacting. You stop justifying mistreatment because you're trying to be the bigger person. You become spiritually grounded, emotionally clear, and inwardly strong. And from that place, God can begin restoring what was stolen: your voice, your peace, your confidence. Don't underestimate the quiet power of discernment. You don't need dramatic endings. You need honest beginnings. And this question, can you take responsibility for how your actions have affected me, is one of the most honest questions you'll ever ask. It's not about their answer. It's about what you see when they respond. In the final section, we'll bring everything together and reflect on how asking this question is not just a moment of confrontation, but a step of faith and emotional courage. Ask the question, then let God do the rest. In the end, exposing a narcissist isn't about revenge. It's not about proving them wrong or making them admit their failures. It's about freeing yourself from the fog of confusion, the kind that keeps you stuck into cycles of doubt, guilt, and emotional exhaustion. And that freedom often begins with one courageous step: asking a question they cannot honestly answer. Can you take responsibility for how your actions have affected me? If they deflect, deny, or twist the question, believe them. Not their words, but their response. That is your truth, and once you see it, you're no longer trapped by hope that keeps turning into heartbreak. You're standing on solid ground, with the clarity and peace that God promises His children. Jesus never begged for apologies. He never chased those who walked away from the truth. He spoke it, stood in it, and let the consequences unfold in God's hands. You can do the same. C.S. Lewis wrote, "Courage, dear heart." That's what this moment is, an act of courage. You are not being harsh. You are choosing to walk in truth and dignity. And when you do, God will meet you there, with peace, with healing, and with strength for the journey ahead. If this message gave you strength today, write in the comments, "I choose truth and clarity over fear and confusion." Because the truth doesn't just expose darkness, it sets you free.